Welcome to this week's Sight for Wight Talking News for Friday the 14th of May 2021.
Hello, this is Lisa, CEO of Sight for Wight, welcoming you to this week's Talking News. We are busy planning the reopening of Millbrook House, which we hope will be early July, of course subject to Boris's announcement for the 21st of June changes. We're going to start with opening the usual Wednesday and Thursday activities during July, leading up to an open day which we have got planned for early September, in which we will detail a full schedule of activities, social groups and information that we're able to offer and help with. This is, of course, all subject to the return of our wonderful volunteers, as we must ensure we have the right ratio of sighted guides to members. Next week, we'll see the return of the USB sticks for the Talking News. We're very excited to be able to return to this by allowing a limited number of volunteers into the building in scheduled time slots. Next week, we'll also see the launch of the Alexa skill so that you may listen to the Talking News newsletter, meet the team, Sight for Wight notices, meet the trustees, and iWasp scam notices, all through the voice-controlled app on any Alexa device. We will be writing individually to members to detail how this may be done. Wishing that everybody stays safe. Thank you, Lisa.
This is Sue reading an article from the Island Echo. Arson investigation probes hotel fire as aftermath revealed. Hampshire Constabulary has launched an arson investigation following a blaze at the derelict former Ocean Hotel in Sandown that saw firefighters from across the island battle flames for over 6 hours last night, Saturday. As first reported by Island Echo, 8 appliances and 2 aerial ladder platforms from the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Fire and Rescue Service were mobilised to the historic building on Sandown Esplanade when flames were spotted by a passer-by at just before 20:30. Fire service investigations are taking place today, Sunday, with the arrival of specialist fire dogs at the scene and searching of the remnants of the building underway to try and determine what started the devastating blaze, which is believed to have started in one room and spread quickly throughout. More than 45 firefighters fought the flames, including crews from Sandown, Shanklin, Ryde, Newport, Ventnor, East Cowes and Cowes, after a 999 call from a member of the public who had seen black smoke coming from the roof of the 4-storey hotel. Further crews were drafted in from the mainland in order to maintain fire cover for the rest of the island. Whilst firefighters used 5 main jets along with the 15 sets of breathing apparatus to attempt to bring the fire under control, emergency service colleagues from the police and HM Coast Guard were tasked with facilitating the imposing of cordons and crowd control in the interests of public safety. Police have officially launched a probe into the cause of the fire at the derelict building, which changed hands in the last few weeks. Hampshire Constabulary Sergeant Charland said, "I would like to say thank you to the public and press who were supportive and understanding as we closed off large areas of the town to create safe working space for the fire service and ensure the public remains safe from the fallout of smoke. I am glad to report that nobody has been injured and an investigation as to the sort of the fire is ongoing. If you saw anything that could assist us, please call 101 and quote reference number 442 101 77386. Significant damage has been caused to the building, with the heat, flames and water used to extinguish the fire rendering areas of the building structurally unstable, and members of the public urged to stay away from the site, now and in the future for their own safety. Much of the roof has been burnt away, with what was left appearing to have collapsed down into the floor below, and all floors of a building now in a state of near ruin." Hampshire and Isle of Wight Fire and Rescue Service Group Manager Justin Hardin said, "Teams worked hard in difficult conditions, particularly early on with challenging wind conditions. Crews adapted their tactics according to manage this. I'd like to add my thanks to crews from across the island who worked throughout the night and to the crews from Hampshire who provided support and resilience. This was a multi-agency effort and we were well supported by Isle of Wight Police, Isle of Wight Ambulance Service, Southern Electricity, Southern Water, Isle of Wight Council's Emergency Planning Duty Officer, the Coast Guard, the Environment Agency and South Central Ambulance Services Hazardous Area Response Team, all of whom helped deal with this situation and manage the wider considerations. Whilst the site will be secured, areas of the hotel are structurally unstable as a result of the fire. I would now appeal for the public to stay away from the site for their own safety and so that re-inspections can be carried out.
This is Alison reading an article from Isle of Wight Radio. NHS Trust truly sorry after dying Isle of Wight woman's jewellery goes missing. The Isle of Wight NHS Trust has told an island family it is truly sorry after a dying woman's jewellery went missing while she lay in a hospital bed. The Trust said it has investigated the incident but could not find the items. Sharon Humby's mother, Brenda, was taken to A&E at St Mary's Hospital on Monday, April the 12th. It was a day later when she was transferred to the Acute Assessment Unit, AAU, that Sharon noticed her mother's ring and bangle had disappeared. I reported this to the nurse in charge on AAU and they did their own investigation. I contacted PALS and they also investigated but came up with nothing, Sharon said. I am begging the public to please help me find these two items. If you do see either of the items, please could you contact me or report to the police as soon as possible. It has been so hard to come to terms with losing my mum, but the grief is more devastating knowing that as she lay dying in her hospital bed, unaware of her surroundings, someone has removed these two items. Poor mum was unable to protect herself. Sharon said she went to Newport police station to report the jewellery stolen. Hampshire Constabulary has told Isle of Wight Radio that the investigation has been filed until new information comes to light. A spokesperson said, "We received reports of a theft at 11:29 a.m. on 28th of April in relation to an incident which occurred sometime between 9 p.m. on Monday the 12th of April and 8 a.m. on Tuesday the 13th of April at St Mary's Hospital. It is alleged that a number of items of jewellery were stolen from a patient, including a bangle and a ring. The investigation into the matter has been filed after all reasonable lines of inquiry had been followed until such time new information comes to light, and the investigation will then be reopened." The Isle of Wight NHS Trust says it is sorry for the extra hurt caused to Sharon and her family. A Trust spokesperson said, "We are truly sorry for the loss of Brenda and the pain her family are feeling. We are sorry too for the extra hurt caused by the disappearance of her jewellery while she was in our care. We have investigated and found no sign of the lost items, but we will share this appeal with all our staff in case anyone has any information that might reunite the family with these treasured possessions." Sharon said the items have more of a sentimental value than a monetary one. Anyone with information can contact police on 101.
This is Den reading an article from Isle of Wight Radio. Fundraising appeal launched after cow's home is gutted by fire. A fundraising appeal has been launched for a family who lost everything in a house fire in Cowes. More than 22 firefighters were called to a blaze at a property in Arctic Road on Tuesday morning. The fire service said the fire was believed to have started in the ground floor lounge of the terraced home. Crews used breathing apparatus, a hose reel jet and PPV, positive pressure ventilation, to fight the flames. 3 people, 2 in their 20s and 1 in their 60s, were taken to a hospital to be treated for the effects of smoke inhalation. The appeal says that one of the occupants has been a nurse working in the NHS for 20 years. It says, "Unfortunately, in the early hours of this morning, my mother-in-law, Annabelle Legaspi, had an awful fire in her house at Arctic Road, Cowes, Isle of Wight. My mother-in-law has literally lost everything, and at this awful time, I am hoping that as a community we can pull together to give them the support and help that they will need going forward. House fires are devastating, but thankfully they all survived, my mother-in-law, brother-in-law and sister-in-law, but were sent to the hospital for tests and treatment. My mother-in-law is a nurse working in the NHS for 20 years now and is preparing for her retirement. The family is currently in bereavement as well, as one of their sisters recently had passed away. It's really heartbreaking that all these things have happened. Please, if you can help with any donation, even a small one, it will make a huge difference." This is Den reading an article from Isle of Wight Radio. Plans for 24-hour McDonald's in Newport resubmitted. Plans for the 24-hour McDonald's in Newport are back before planners after a change to the St George's Retail Park scheme. The second drive-through is shown as Costa Coffee on planning documents. The revised park, proposed by owners of the former Newport Football Club, South Coast Leisure, would make the approved development smaller, with the removal of up to 2 retail units in the main terrace, with an overall reduction in the retail floor space. Other tenants of the retail park have yet to be confirmed, although in a retail impact assessment by Savills, it is said a national chain of garden centres who focus on homeware and DIY will occupy one, and a food store, which only provides a limited range of core products, will fill another. It is thought a 24-hour commercial gym would operate in the middle unit, but there are still questions over it, as proposals are asking planners to allow flexibility, potentially subdividing the unit into 2 with a mezzanine level. The changes to the retail scheme have yet to be approved by the Isle of Wight Council. The amended plans, submitted on behalf of McDonald's, still ask for an advertising totem pole, illuminated signs and non-illuminated information and directional signs. You can view the applications on the Isle of Wight's Council's registered planning register. Comments will be accepted until the 7th of June.
This is Alison reading an article from the Island Echo. Error with waste collection calendar confirmed, but letter has another error. The Isle of Wight Council, working in partnership with Amy, has confirmed to residents in Sandown that their annual waste collection calendar contained a critical error. But the letter sent out to residents contained another error of its own. Those living in Sandown recently received the annual Waste and Recycling Resident Information Booklet, as has every household across the Isle of Wight. However, due to what is being called a printing error, the February 2022 collection schedule incorrectly stated that collection days were Thursday for the month instead of Wednesdays. The Council has apologised for the error and has confirmed that there are no planned changes to the collection day in February 2022. A replacement booklet with a corrected collection schedule has been sent out. Ironically, to confuse matters even further, the letter sent out to residents informing them of the mistake contains its own error, having seemingly been sent on the 30th of April 2020, some 12 months ago.
Hello, this is Sue reading an article from Island Echo. Scam texts and rogue traders feature in warnings to islanders. The Isle of Wight Against Scams Partnership has issued an update on scams that have come to light in the local community recently. Islanders are being urged to be very wary of any unsolicited phone calls, emails and texts, and to remember to never click on links in any messages. Here is a roundup of scams currently in circulation. Reports of scam texts and emails purporting to be various different mail providers, claiming that you need to pay extra for a package or asking you click on a link which could install malware onto your device. The companies all involved state that they would never contact you in this way. How would they know your phone number and would put a card through the door? Reports that the national insurance scam has been using an 01983 number. Don't believe that just because it appears to be a local number that is genuine. Numbers can be purchased and are frequently cloned. A message purporting to be from Google to say that your phone has viruses and you have to click the link to repair the problem. Don't. This is a scam. There appears to be an increase in reports of banking texts, and some residents are reporting that these messages are being followed up by phone calls, stating that there is a fraud on your account. They may even draw your attention to the number they are dialing from. It will be the bank's number. Again, these can be cloned. Hang up, do not engage with these criminals, and call your bank on a number you have found yourself to ensure that your account is secure. Lots of reports in the past few weeks about rogue traders, whether they are looking to carry out work on your property or buy gold or jewellery from you. Our advice remains the same. Do not trade on the doorstep, as you will be conned out of money, and if they are carrying out work, it is likely to be of poor quality, and the price they quote at the beginning will escalate during the process. You can report scams online at www.actionfraud.police.uk or on the phone 0300 123 2040. Phishing emails can be forwarded to report@phishing, and that's phishing.gov.uk. Scam texts can be forwarded to 7726. If you have a vulnerable relative, friend or neighbour, you should share this information with them. It could save them from falling victim to one of these or any other scam.
This is an article from On the Wight, read by Terry. Cowes meteorologist for British Olympic team joins new Harbour Commissioner for Environment and Sustainability. Cowes Harbour Commission is delighted to announce the appointment of Fiona Fitzherbert-Brockholes to the board as the new Commissioner for Environment and Sustainability. The appointment follows the Commission's successful open recruitment campaign, which this year attracted several extremely high-calibre applicants seeking to volunteer their time and skills for the benefit of Cowes Harbour. Cowes Harbour Commission is committed to the sustainable management and conservation of the harbour and Medina estuary, and looks to protect the natural environment and its ecological health, whilst at the same time driving sustainable innovation. As Commissioner for Environment and Sustainability, Fiona brings to the CHC board extensive experience in sustainability consulting and climate change mitigation through her work with the Carbon Trust, OC Group, that's Ellen MacArthur, and Virgin Atlantic. She is currently meteorologist to the British Olympic team and Cowes Week Limited, having also been meteorologist to various America's Cup teams. She is a keen sailor and has lived and worked in Cowes Harbour most of her adult life. Chairman of Cowes Harbour Commission, David Riley, said, "Fiona has a wealth of knowledge and expertise to contribute, and we welcome her joining the CHC board at a time when the Commission seeks to increase its focus on the environment, which underpins the purpose and success of the harbour, and is an asset that requires our care and consideration in the management of every aspect of CHC's business and activities. Commenting on her appointment, Fiona Fitzherbert-Brockholes said, "I have used Cowes Harbour extensively as a racing and cruising sailor, meteorologist, dinghy and rib owner, and through my passion for the environment, nature and sailing, I hope to help the harbour and its stakeholders navigate the wide-ranging and evolving challenges and opportunities that a sustainable way of working can present." At the April 2021 board meeting, Chairman David Riley thanked retiring Commissioners Joe Gillespie and Chris Preston for their service over the past 6 years and confirmed the second-term appointment of James Evans as Commissioner for Governance and Regulatory. Chairman David Riley also welcomed Jason Losty to his first term as Commissioner for Safety and Security, following his previous 12-month co-option to the board in 2020.
Alison reading from the Isle of Wight County Press. 70,500 islanders did not vote in Isle of Wight Council election. Turnout of the Isle of Wight Council's 2021 election was down on previous years, with more than 70,000 eligible islanders choosing not to vote at all. Falling by nearly 4%, voter turnout in this year's election was 36.93%, with 41,002 votes being accepted and 349 ballot papers rejected for either being want of an official mark, voting for more than one candidate, writing or marking the paper which meant the voter could be identified, or being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty. Out of an electorate of 111,885 people, more than 70,500 did not vote this year. Of all the votes cast, the Conservative Party got the most, with 38.6%, 15,825 votes, but were still unable to hold enough seats for a majority over the council. Here is how all groups fared and what percentage of the vote they received. Conservatives, 15,825, 38.6%. Independents, 10,039, 24.5%. Labour, 4,760, 11.6%. Green Party, 4,541, 11.1%. Liberal Democrats, 2,139, 5.2%. Our Island, 1,427, 3.5%. Island Independent Network, 1,327, 3.2%. Vectis Party, 886, 2.2%. Compared to the votes for 2017, where the Conservatives managed to secure 25 seats and the majority, they lost 2,552 votes in the latest election, a swing of minus 2.7%. Grouping of all the independent candidates, including from the Island Independent Network, there was a downward swing of votes of 0.5%, losing 1,142 votes compared to 2017. Gaining one seat in 2021 means the Labour Party now has an official councillor at County Hall. It is also the only party to have an upward swing of votes, gaining 1.9% more of the votes in 2021 than in 2017. Labour received only 9.7% 4 years ago, growing to 11.6% this time, although it still was not enough to secure a second representative on the Isle of Wight Council, and left 27 beaten candidates. The Green Party, going from 0 to 2 councillors representing the group, received 1,056 fewer votes than the previous local authority elections, a 1.5% downward swing, falling from 12.6% of the island's vote to 11.1%. The Liberal Democrats lost one of its 2 seats during this round of elections, as well as 636 votes. The group also lost 1% of its voter popularity, swinging down to 5.2%. The highest turnout in all the wards of the Isle of Wight Council was for the seat of Chale, Knighton and Shorewell, which was only a 2-horse race between the Conservatives, who were trying to retain the seat, and the Greens, who ultimately came up trumps. Out of an electorate of 2,986, 1,530 ballot papers were issued, a 50.33% turnout, 876 votes for Councillor Claire Critchison, and 636 for the former leader of the council, Dave Stewart, with 18 ballots unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty. The lowest turnout overall was in Ryde South East, where only 389 ballot papers were issued to people, out of a possible 1,750, 22.23%. The winning candidate, Conservatives' Warren Drew, only got 112 votes to secure his place on the Isle of Wight Council, with the other 4 candidates standing getting between 78 and 64 votes.
This is Sue reading an article from Isle of Wight Radio. Tributes paid to the Isle of Wight Clinical Commissioning Group's former interim MD. Tributes are being paid to former interim managing director of the Isle of Wight Clinical Commissioning Group, Martin Wakely, who has recently died. Said to have had a positive impact on all those he worked with, Mr. Wakely worked for the CCG between 2018 and 2019 and stayed working on the island as a member of the Isle of Wight NHS Trust executive team. He was also an active member of the local care board, now known as the Integrated Care Partnership. It is believed Mr. Wakely, who was in his early 50s, died of cancer. On a Just Giving page set up by Mr. Wakely's family, Tom, his stepson, said they were asking for donations to cancer research in honour of their amazing dad, granddad and husband, especially for the forms of the disease that is not well recognised and need more focus, like gastrointestinal stromal tumours. He said, "We have seen Martin spend his whole career striving to improve people's health, and we want to continue that through this page. He was an incredible role model." Paying tribute to their colleague, Alison Smith, Managing Director of the Hampshire, Southampton and Isle of Wight Clinical Commissioning Group, and Maggie Oldham, Chief Executive of the Isle of Wight NHS Trust, released a joint statement. They said, "For those of us who have had the pleasure of working with Martin, it was always to see just how enthusiastic, passionate and committed he was to improving health outcomes. We are fortunate to have had Martin as part of the island team, as he had such a positive impact on those working with him. He was able to draw on his vast experience from a career in the NHS that spanned working as a scientist in pathology through to working his way up to becoming Chief Executive of Winchester and Eastleigh Healthcare NHS Trust. Our thoughts and deepest condolences are with Martin's wife Heather their family and his many friends at what must be a very difficult time for them all.
This is an article from Isle of Wight Radio, read by Terry. Rare white-tailed sea eagle arrives at Robin Hill. A rare 10-month-old white-tailed sea eagle is the latest attraction to arrive at Robin Hill on the Isle of Wight. After months of waiting, 10-month-old Chief has finally arrived on the island for what the park hopes will be an incredible opportunity to educate visitors on the species that became extinct nearly 200 years ago, while providing a major draw to attract people back to the island after the coronavirus pandemic. Chief is joining a team of more than 30 birds looked after by 22-year-old Charlie Roll, one of the Isle of Wight's youngest qualified falconers. He will train Chief to fly and express his natural behaviours so that the magnificent eagle will be ready to educate visitors upon reopening on May the 29th in the park's spectacular falconry displays. Charlie, a falconer at Robin Hill, said, "It has been my childhood dream to train a white-tailed sea eagle. It's been a slow and steady journey to build a bond of trust with Chief, with his welfare of the utmost importance. It is my passion that time spent with animals and learning from them will help our visitors become more aware of the conservation of our fellow inhabitants and the environmental challenges they face. There is nothing more awe-inspiring than to see a bird of prey in action." The team at Robin Hill believed as such a large, majestic bird, he needed a name worthy of his sense of seniority and superiority, one that was easily recognisable while characterful. A single syllable is also a preferential from a falconer's perspective, so the bird recognises its name quickly during training. Chief arrived on the Isle of Wight with Charlie after a journey from the Scottish Eagle Centre. Chief weighs 9.5 pounds and has a 7.5-foot wingspan. He doesn't yet have his white tail, which will grow as he gets older. His diet is predominantly fish, provided by the local Ventnor Haven fishery. This is a one-to-one process for Charlie and Chief to build a trusted bond where Chief will slowly become accustomed to Charlie's voice. Some interesting facts about the white-tailed sea eagle. The white-tailed sea eagle is Britain's largest bird of prey with an 8-foot wingspan. Native to the UK, they are a species of conservation concern. Once widespread along the whole of the south coast of England, from Cornwall to Kent, they were driven to extinction by persecution that began in the Middle Ages and were extinct in the UK by the early 20th century. The last pair to breed in southern England nested on Culver Cliff on the Isle of Wight in 1780, just a few miles from Robin Hill. The species was successfully reintroduced to Scotland, where there are now more than 130 pairs. They have recently been reintroduced to Ireland, and there is an ongoing reintroduction programme taking place on the Isle of Wight, which started in 2019 with 60 birds due to be released across a 5-year period. Adults are predominantly brown, with a pale head and white tail. In flight, the eagle has long, broad wings and a short wedge tail. They have a life expectancy of 40 to 50 years. James Crofts, park manager at Robin Hill, said, "We are so excited to be reopening with a brand new arrival that enhances our ability to educate and enthrall visitors on rare and wild birds. Chief signifies our ongoing development of quality falconry experiences on site, and we hope that by getting up close and personal, people will have more appreciation for the species overall. We hope Chief will not only see a bumper reopening season for the attraction, but also support the island's post-COVID recovery by providing a big draw for visitors this year."
This is Sue reading an article from On the Wight. Get ready for an Isle of Wight Summer of Pride. Although the main summer beach event has been postponed until 2022, there will still be plenty of other Pride events taking place in 2021. The Isle of Wight's LGBTQ1A+ community and allies have come together alongside the Isle of Wight Pride to arrange a programme of events and activities for the benefit of the community and island as a whole. This follows and supports Isle of Wight Pride's decision not to stage a parade and beach event in July. Working alongside each other, they have been exploring ways in which a Summer of Pride can take place in a COVID-safe way that follows the official guidelines and roadmap out of lockdown. Out on an Island are launching the first ever exhibition entirely dedicated to LGBTQ+ heritage and oral history on the Isle of Wight, opening on the 19th of June at the Key Arts Centre in Newport. The exhibition features photography, artwork and rare LGBTQ+ memorabilia alongside an enlightened film documentary. For mid-July at Bar 74 and Coburg's in Ryde, preparations are underway for drag shows including bingo and a Sunday brunch. A day of cabaret and glitter party are planned, as well as other shows at the Key Arts and Moncton Arts, who plan Wizard of Oz themed over the rainbow high teas. It is hoped that the local community groups will join the events with information, advice and support to the community. Breakout Youth offer group sessions and one-to-one support line which are available now and during the summer. See the Breakout Youth website for more information. Out on an Island says, "What our research and interviews have shown is that Pride helped many island folk to feel safe, to understand they are not alone and even help them come out. Over the years, we've made a lot of progress as a society when it comes to LGBTQ+ rights, but there is still a lot of work to be done. For instance, we are still fighting for equality on issues such as hate crime, conversion therapy, LGBTQ+ education, trans rights and medical care. It is vital that we remain visible and vocal in order to advocate for change and to remind those in our community that they are not fighting alone." Michael Salmon, owner Bar 74, said, "In a changing world, we are learning the true values of togetherness and friendships, and as a community we have stood strong with a sense of undeniable unity against the hardships that not only COVID-19 has presented, but the other injustices of the current world climate. This unity we have shown this past year must continue, and we are committed to working on that going forward as we strive for the equality, inclusion and solidarity of our proud and diverse community on the Isle of Wight." Peter, proud, Mary, added, "I hope by bringing this community together in partnership that in the future the continuing isolation felt by many over the past few years, the decline in mental health of some and the struggles faced by local businesses and artists, we will be able to facilitate events and connections to bring the Isle of Wight LGBTQIA+ population into a thriving new era." A spokesman for the Isle of Wight Pride said, "Cancelling the parade and beach event this year was done with a heavy heart, but with safety of the community in mind. As we work to return to the beach in 2022, it is amazing how the community has come together to ensure support for those in need and to celebrate the diversity of this ever-growing community of amazing people on the Isle of Wight. If anyone would like to add to the programme for a Summer of Pride or would like to be involved, they should contact Michael and Emily. info@bar74.co.uk.
This is an article from the Island Echo, read by Terry. Man who bit and spat at post office worker ordered to wear sobriety tag. A Ryde man who bit a post office worker on the leg during a confrontation has been ordered to wear a sobriety tag for 60 days. Maurice Reginald Hammond of Arthur Street in Ryde appeared at the Isle of Wight Magistrates' Court last Tuesday morning, charged with assault by beating and failing to surrender to bail. Magistrates heard that Hammond entered Mellish's in the High Street at around lunchtime on the 18th of July last year, but was refused service as staff believed him to be drunk. Later in the day, the 43-year-old returned to the shop and was spotted carrying a can of drink, which Mr. Gamanov Dhaliwal believed Maurice was stealing. He was confronted about the matter and then proceeded to punch Mr. Dhaliwal in the face. Two other shop workers, family members of Mr. Dhaliwal's, rushed to assist and restrained a drunken Maurice on the floor. It was then that he bit Mr. Dhaliwal on the leg and spat in his face. Police were flagged down and arrested Hammond, who is said to have been in drink at the time of the incident. Defending, Oscar Vincent told the court that his client suffers from epilepsy and seizures as well as diabetes. At the time of the incident, Maurice was recovering from an operation and was taking heavy painkillers, which mixed with the alcohol consumed. Maurice pleaded previously not guilty, meaning the case went to trial, but he failed to attend. He was found guilty in his absence. Magistrates ordered Maurice Hammond to pay £650 costs, with a £95 surcharge, as well as compensation of £75. He was also ordered to complete an alcohol abstinence monitoring requirement, namely wearing a sobriety tag for 60 days, as well as completing 20 rehabilitation days as part of a 12-month community order.
We've heard it all now. Cow's Party at Sandown's Browns Golf Course from Isle of Wight Radio, read by Chris. Holy cow! Just when you thought you'd heard it all, cattle have invaded a golf course in Sandown. In a bizarre turn of events, a group of cows made their way onto the field at Brown's Golf Course earlier this afternoon, Monday. It's thought the animals escaped from a nearby field before making their way to the seafront. Paul Couslant posted in Sandown Hub to say the herd had been saved from heading onto the main road by Brown's new tenants. Luckily, Jeff and Kate Scandrett, who took over the historic golf course last month, are said to be experienced cattle farmers. With help from Articology's Ian Boyd and a golf course mower, Jeff rounded up the animals and moved them on. All's cow that ends cow. Sorry.
This is an article from the Island Echo, read by Terry. Benbridge footpath closed to allow construction work. A section of a popular footpath in Benbridge has been closed to allow construction work at a nearby site to continue safely. Benbridge Parish Council announced the news earlier this week, with the footpath running between the car parking area at Forelands Field Road and the beach access steps closed with immediate effect. The works to demolish and rebuild a beach hut had already started before the closure, with the developer estimating that the building will continue until the middle of November this year. Walkers will need to bypass the closed section by using nearby paths to circumnavigate the area.
This is Den reading an article from Isle of Wight Radio. Buoys confirmed for Totland and Colwell to protect swimmers. Buoys are going to be installed to protect swimmers at both Totland Bay and a section of Colwell Bay. As previously reported by Isle of Wight Radio, Freshwater Parish Council submitted an application for them to deter powered crafts like jet skis and rigid inflatable boats from entering the area of water. Totland Parish Council will be installing marker buoys at Wight Chine and to the west of Colwell Bay from the slipway. There will also be launching buoys off the Colwell slipway, which is separate from the safe swimming buoys on the east section of Colwell. It is hoped the move will ensure that boats are moored at a safe distance and swimmers are safe within the zone, and although they are different solutions, the aim is the same: to prevent crafts from mooring inshore and protect swimmers. The buoys, which have been approved by Trinity House, will be heavy-duty yellow marine compliant buoys that are anchored and chained. At Wight Chine, they will be tethered and roped together to form a barrier.
Sight for Wight would like to thank you for listening to this week's edition of the Talking News. We would also like to thank our volunteers for reading, and a particular thank you to the Isle of Wight County Press, On the Wight, Island Echo, Isle of Wight Radio, and a special thank you to Vectis Radio.